Hello, geometry students. Welcome to a series of videos that will help you on your Unit 1 study guide. This is Mr. Salas coming to you live from a top secret location. We're going to go ahead and look at this first problem in our study guide where it says circle all of the shapes with 90-degree rotation symmetry. So let's underline that word, rotation symmetry. We have talked about symmetry, we have talked about rotation, but we've never taken the two and put them together. So what is rotation symmetry? So let's check this out. So rotation symmetry means if I was to take this rectangle, and I was to get another rectangle next to it side by side, let's see. Let me make it about the same size. That looks like it's about the same size. If I was to take a rectangle that's about the same size, that's very congruent, and I was to rotate it 90 degrees, it doesn't matter left or right. The final thing that I have to look at is if I was to cut it directly in half, the same exact way, does the top half look identical to the top half of the other rectangle? My answer for this question is no. Why? Because this top half looks more like a square, while this top half looks more like a rectangle. So a rectangle does not have 90-degree symmetry. Okay? So we already were able to tell that a rectangle does not have 90-degree rotation symmetry. What about a square? Let's go ahead and do the same thing with our square. So we have our square here, put our square, we make it about the same size. There we go. Let's take this square, let's rotate it 90 degrees. I'm gonna go ahead and rotate it 90 degrees. Oh, now does that look the same? Let's see. If I cut it in half this way and I cut it in half this way, pretend that's cut in half evenly, does this top half look the same as this half? If I did it 100% perfectly, then yes, it would be identical. So a square does have 90-degree symmetry. Okay, so a square is one of my first shapes that I'm gonna circle. So oh, there we go. It circled it for me. It said, Mr. Salas, you can't draw circles. I'll draw a circle for you. So there we go. Next up, the equilateral triangle. We're looking at the equilateral triangle. If I rotate an equilateral triangle by 90 degrees, what has happened here? Oh, let's see, let's try this again. If I take this equilateral triangle here, and I go ahead and paste my copy of it over here, once I take this triangle and rotate it 90 degrees, let's see, rotate 90 degrees. If I rotate it 90 degrees, will this half be identical to this half? No, they will not be. So this is not a symmetrical triangle once you rotate it 90 degrees. So that triangle is not it. So that did not work. What about this star? What about this star? Let's check out this star. If I have a star and I rotate it 90 degrees, come on, pick the star. Oh, because this is in the way. If I have a star here, if I rotate it 90 degrees, if I was to cut my star in half this way, it doesn't matter. I can choose whichever way to cut it, just as long as I choose the same line for it. So if I'm cutting it from top to bottom, is this side the same as this side? Nope, it is not. So a star does not have rotation symmetry. It does not have rotation symmetry. And finally, our last shape, this octagon. This octagon. Will an octagon have a rotation symmetry? Let's see. Come on, let's see. Let me paste it. Here we go. Oh, let me just do it once again because it's not letting me. Here we go. Whoa. There we go. Let me make it about the same size. That's about it, I think. There. Sure. That should be good enough. If I take this octagon and I rotate it 90 degrees, will the octagon still look the same? Let me fix it up a little bit. Sorry, because it didn't look good. So let's just rotate it again so you can see. So if I rotate it again, this half will look identical to this half. So a octagon does have 90-degree symmetry. Okay? So let me erase this here. So this octagon does have 90-degree symmetry. So here are your two answers. The octagon and the square have rotation symmetry. Those were our only two answers. Another helpful hint is that if it has an even number of sides, it most likely will have rotation symmetry. The one that it doesn't really apply to is rectangles and rhombuses, trapezoids. But other than that, it should work. But I encourage you to double check, okay? Now, that is all for this problem. See you in the next round.